Hello and welcome back to Seaside Garage. What have I done? A lot of stuff is happening in the garage at the moment. A lot of projects is coming in and I'm slightly unsure if I'm about to lose my mind, but I'm really happy about all this. A lot of you has already guessed it. A lot of you have even been told what it was already because the Danish podcast Bilklubben actually talked about it. So some of you know, and some of you guessed it. I made the little quiz like I always do. I said that this was the first SUV with a monocoque chassis. The chassis. I'm not completely sure that's true, but this one is a very early one at least, and a lot of you guessed it. The Lada Niva. And of course, this car has been a car that I have been wanting to own for a long time. This ticks pretty much all of my boxes. It's old, it's fun, it's 4x4, it's Eastern European, it's easy to work on, or it should be. I haven't tried, but it seems that way, and it's just a lot of fun. And one thing is a Lada Niva, another thing is this Lada Niva, because I think you can tell that this is not completely a bone stock Lada Niva. This Niva, yeah, it's had a rough life, and it's a perfect Seaside Garage project. I'm slightly unsure at the very moment, but I think it's from 78. It's one of the very early Lada Nivas, which is cool because, of course, it's a classic car. That's a good thing for insurance when it's road legal. There's a long way to go before that. But also it's just nice to have one of the early ones, the very basic ones. This is the 1.6 engine, delivering around 75 horsepower, so thereabout. Another fun little thing about the Lada Niva, this is my first Lada ever, but I have just taken a quick peek into the engine bay when I bought it, and I can recognize a lot of stuff from all my Fiat stuff, because Fiat and the East Bloc cars seems to have a lot in common, and yeah, there's a lot of story behind that, why that is, but I'm not going to get into that. But it shares a lot of components with the Fiat engines, that's for sure. The way I got this car is a bit of a fun story actually. Some of you maybe remember when I got the Buhanga, the US. Here's a little clip of that. Unfortunately, I had to give up on that project due to the paperwork being way too complicated for my patience at least. That's a big shame. But because I own that, I did some research and I found out that another guy on the island that I live on even owns a Buhanga. And I contacted him, of course, to hear some details and stuff. And then I realized that he had a YouTube channel as well, just like me. It was a really weird coincidence. This guy has a lot of cool cars, a lot of cars that I like, but primarily big 4x4 weird cars. And the day after I sold the Panda 4x4, I wrote him asking if, hey, do you have a Lada Niva I can buy? And he was just like, yeah, I have. and then he sent a picture of this, parked in a hedge for a couple of years. To get to the point, check his channel out if you like 4x4s and if you like weird old 4x4s like Unimogs, Mans, Humvees, US and all that. Team Army Truck, check the link in the description. And as you can see, they delivered the car to me. That was very cool of them. And they did it in style. Take a look at this. This was, yeah, I live very far from everything and there's not a lot of traffic, but for some reason that day, there were cars everywhere and we blocked everything with that big man truck. It was fun. And they loaded off this amazing project. And I went to Casper and looked at the car. So I know there is a lot of rust. He also told me there is a lot of rust. Not as much as you might expect on these, but there is a lot of rust. There's a lot of stuff that needs to be fixed. Also, it's not on Danish papers. Everything should be in order this time, but it is a big project. But check Kasper's channel out. It's called Team Army Truck. The link is down in the description. And there is a lot of cool videos in there. Anyway, let's take a look at this project. So I don't know if you can see it from this distance, but this car is black, yes, but it's not painted in regular paint that you might expect. So if you go closer and take a look at it, you will very quickly notice that this paint is stone chip paint. And it's not the first time it was painted with that. It's at least the second time it was painted with the stone chip. This gives it a very rough look. Lucky for me, I really like the look, and also it's very fun to fix this car, because I'm not going to struggle a lot with all the painting stuff that I'm still learning and I'm not very good at. This, it will never look like a normal, good-looking Lada Niva, that's for sure, because if I wanted to respray this car, I would have to dip it in some kind of acid or sandblast everything or something like that. And really, I'm not kidding when I say I really like the look. There is stuff that I want to change and there is stuff that I need to change, but the overall look is pretty cool. This is going to be a mix between a tractor and a car for me that I can use for fun. And when it snows and if I need to pull something out of a hedge or something like that, this is just gonna be such a fun car to drive around in. As you can see in the front, if you know Lada Nivas, the plastic bit front right there is not the right one. I think that's a later one, maybe from the 90s. This is fitted because someone fitted a winch at some point. That I need to fix. I need to fix up that hole, and I might need to fix with another grill. I'm not sure. Actually, I kind of like the look of it because it's very weird, but maybe I'm going to get a original type grill for the car. We'll see about that. Another thing is these wheel arch extensions that are made very ugly and very solid though. It's extremely thick material. This I don't think will have any chance in a Danish MOT station, because this is just a death trap really for pedestrians. I know the entire car is a death trap for pedestrians, but this will not go through an MOT, I'm pretty sure of that. What I think I'm going to do is to cut it off and cut them off and then fit plastic wheel arches actually, because that will be the easiest way. The other thing would be to make them all original and get some new panels and make them look right. But I think what I'm going to do is to cut them off and fit the plastic wheel arches. And then I'm going to have to decide on which kind of wheels that I'm going to drive, because as you can see, there's quite a lot of difference in size. I think I'm going to go with the smaller one, even though the bigger ones looks very cool. But another thing that's a problem on this is that it's raised by blocks, and that is not allowed in my country, so I will have to remove them. That will make the car slightly lower, and that will make that size tire a problem, I think, for fouling on the wheel arches and such. I could maybe raise it up with a legal kind of kit. I'm going to do some investigation on that. I don't know much about that. But that's it for that. A lot of rust needs to be fixed. Let me get the light. These Russian cars from this, or any period pretty much, is suffering from a lot of rust. And this is no exception. As you can see, we have rust issues and it is actually not that bad, not as bad as I was expecting, but there is rust, and there's going to be a lot of hours of rust work down here. But as you can also see, it's very basic stuff. It's just square and flat pieces of metal. So it's going to be rather easy to repair, I think. In the wheel arches, I also have some problems, and this is a bit worse fabrication-wise, but apparently I can buy these brackets and just remove them and weld in some new ones. I hope that is going to be okay. But as you can see, yeah, there's a lot of rust in there. Oh, and you might have noticed the very basic roll cage kind of thing that it got. I really like the look of it. It's a nice roof rack, and it fits the car pretty well. Another very cool detail. Oh, exhaust tip. Exhaust tip. Yeah, this is a dual exhaust system. I don't think that's original. I can't really see any reason why that should be original, but maybe it's just the way it is. It looks no, it actually looks quite. I'm unsure. I don't think that's original, but it's fun. And then there's this, a trailer hitch. That's really cool. I like that. The rear of the car, or the inside of the car, is filled with a lot of parts, and a lot of parts that I'm going to need. For instance, the bumper, and a lot of braking components are there. That's very nice. Also, there is a gearbox, because this is supposed to be a 4-speed car, but someone has fitted a 5-speed gearbox to the car, which is really nice because that makes it a lot more usable. But the 4-speed transmission is still there, and also the transfer case, I think it's called, over there. So that's really nice. The gas struts are not worth anything, so it just shuts all by itself. Oh, and I don't know if you noticed, but this car is actually not a van, but it is missing the rear seats, and that's a shame, but they are apparently just missing. I hope to be able to find some seats. The cabin is worn. As you can see, the bottom end of the car is looking a lot better than I actually was expecting. I'm just seeing this for the first time now. That is not looking very well, but that is the gearbox. No, not the gearbox. That is the battery tray, and that is a place that always rot on old cars, so that's not that bad. Other than that, it's actually looking pretty well. Not bad at all. Oh, but the smell is, though. It's not good. And here we have the control room of the Lada Niva. That word seems a bit more fitting, I think. Control room. A very analog place to be. I have never owned a Lada Niva, as I told you, so I don't know what all the stuff does. And it seems that this has been fitted with a lot of aftermarket stuff. Maybe it's because of the winch that has been attached at one point. And also this car has actually had a gas conversion, so maybe some of that is for that. I don't know. I wonder what that is. I think that's some kind of air flap, maybe. I don't know. Maybe some of you know. What I noticed straight away coming into the car is these, the indicator stalks. They are almost exactly like on the A112 Abarth. I think maybe they are the same. At least they are very, very closely related. And that just shows the connection to Fiat and Italy in these cars. That's quite fun. And then we have a fuel gauge, a oil pressure gauge, a rev gauge with a battery light and choke light and parking brake light, and then the speedometer going all the way to 180 kilometers per hour. Well, we'll see about that. The odometer reads 9,456 kilometers. I guess it's been around once or twice, or maybe more. I would be surprised otherwise. And then we have a water temperature gauge right there. Then we have buttons that I don't know what does. And then we have the choke. And then what makes this car really cool? 1, 2, 3. Got the gear, we got the high-low, and we got what I think must be a kind of lock between the differential front to rear, I guess. I'm not sure about that either. But luckily I can just read this little note. Nope, I can't. Seriously, this is going to be such a fun project. I really love this car. And it's really amazing to think that, as far as I know, they still produce the Lada Niva. And I think they started around 75 or so, and all the way until now. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you can buy a brand new Lada Niva still. It's almost impossible to get them in my country due to extra tax if the car is really polluting and stuff. And I presume that these are not the greenest car in the world. But think about it. And I think the design is pretty much the same. Of course, I think the engine is now a fuel-injected one. This is a carbureted edition, of course. And I think they actually raised the displacement to 1.7, and this is only a 1.6. But other than that, you most likely also could get it as a diesel, but I don't know. Let's take a look at the engine. This is a very luxury car because you don't even have to hold up the hood. It just slides very easily into that little thingy and then standing all by itself. And of course there is a star on the hood. That's just, you need to have a star on a Lada Niva, I think. Take a look at this, because this is one of the, and I don't know for sure, but I think this is going to be a very strong point for this project. This engine, I don't know the story of it, and Casper didn't either. I'm going to try to contact the person who actually got this car to the country, if he knows anything, because this engine looks brand new. And the rest of the car, to be honest, is not really looking brand new. So I think this has had another engine at some point. Because take a look at this. There's no sweating. There's almost no dirt or grime on this engine. It's really clean looking. Actually, it makes me think that maybe the 9,000 kilometers could be original, and then the exterior for some reason is just ended up like this. But I don't know. What I know for sure is that this engine is looking to be an engine in good condition. And I know that it ran 2 years ago, because you can go to Team Army Truck and check his video out and see this car running 2 years ago. And it has not been started since, but I expect it's going to be rather easy to get it to run. I can't do it today though, because as you can see, Casper has stolen some very important bits for another Lada Niva project in the past. So I have ordered a set of spark plugs and also a ignition coil that is missing. I think that is all that is missing. I'm not sure. But when they arrive, I'm gonna make a video on trying to start this engine. So take your guesses, will it run? I'm pretty sure that this will just be a matter of getting the fuel all the way to the carb, and then it's just gonna fire up. But I could be mistaken, we'll see about that. As I told you before, inside the car, this had a gas conversion. So there is a lot of hoses that I'm just going to remove, actually. And over there is I don't know what you call that when you're driving on gas, but it's some kind of carb for that. That is just something that I'm going to remove. Oh, it looks like some critters has been having a feast down here. Hopefully they don't like Russian wires. So what do you guys think? Am I losing my mind, or is this going to be a fun thing? I think it is. This together with the turbine is just going to be such a fun theme for Seaside Garage this year. Thank you for watching. Remember to check out Casper and his mate's channel, Team Army Truck. And please hit the subscribe button if you haven't already on my channel, if you like to follow this project. It is going to be a very fun one. Next week, hopefully, I will get the ignition parts for this car, and then I'm going to try to start it up for the first time in at least 2 years. That will make it hopefully possible to move the car in and out and off the trolley thingies that I have under the wheels right now. That will make it possible to work a bit on the turbine sometimes and a bit on this and back and forth like I usually do. So that's my plan at least. But thank you for watching and see you in the next one.